Okay guys, it's that time of year, time to sanitize the freshwater tanks and all the water lines. So if it's something you want to learn about doing, grab your bleach, stick around. Hey, what's up guys? What's going on? Today I'm going to sanitize our freshwater system and all of our freshwater lines using our Nautilus P1 system. Now, there's different methods for different campers on how to do this process, but the idea is basically the same, using a bleach solution to make a sanitizer to run through your lines, your freshwater tank, and get everything sanitized. And if you don't have the Nautilus P1 system, we'll touch base on that a little bit too, on how to do that. Now, only a few items you're going to need for this. One, some bleach. Two, a bucket. Be best if you had a 5-gallon bucket. And number three, a short section of hose or siphoning hose to siphon from the bleach from the bucket into your system. So overall, the basic concept, the idea of this is a very simple process. Now, it does take a little bit of time. Basically, we're going to take the bleach, find the proper ratio to make the sanitized solution, pump it through our lines into our freshwater tank, let it sit, and then flush it all out, and voila, we're done. So to sanitize your freshwater tank, first thing you want to do is get the proper ratio of bleach and water mixture. Now, if you look on the internet, you're going to see a bunch of different ratios. They're all pretty close. I've seen 1 cup of bleach per 50 gallons of water. I've seen a 1/4 cup of bleach for 16 gallons of water. I'm going to go with the 1 cup of bleach per 50 gallons of water. Now, we have an 81-gallon freshwater tank. So for me to fill up my freshwater tank, I'm going to use approximately 1 3/4 cups of bleach. It doesn't have to be exact. You just don't want it probably on the too strong side. Now, once you've done your math and you figured out how big your freshwater tank is, next step, we're just going to go ahead and put the bleach into a 5-gallon bucket, fill that bucket up with water, and start pumping it into our freshwater tank, or pouring it into your freshwater tank, however you have to get it in there. But mainly we're going to talk about the Nautilus system today. The main thing is basically just how to bypass your water heater. You do not want to get bleach in your water heater. Now with the Nautilus system, there's just a simple valve I can switch, and I'll show you that in a minute. If you don't, you're going to need to get to your water heater, probably get in your basement behind the wall, and you're going to have 2 one-way valves, 2 bypass valves, one in the hot water line and one in the cold water line. And now if you don't have the Nautilus P1 system, I want you guys to go check out my friend Ross over at RV Tips and Travels. He has a great channel, and he recently just did a video on sanitizing his camper. He has a Grand Design Imagine travel trailer. So I'm going to put the link below to that video. Go check it out. He does an awesome job showing you how to bypass the water heater, again, if you don't have the Nautilus system. Now, whether you have the Nautilus P1 system or you don't, the main idea is to get the sanitized solution into your freshwater tank while bypassing the water heater. You do not want to get bleach into your water heater tank. So if you mix bleach and metal, you guys know that equals rust through an oxidation process. We don't want that happening. So that's the most important thing. Now, I have another video where we talk about how to actually clean your water heater, and that's going to be a process using vinegar and changing out your anode rod and all that. I'll put a link up to that. That's something you want to do yearly as well, changing out the anode rod and putting a white distilled vinegar mixture in there, letting that sit overnight, descaling it, and that's a whole other thing. But for today, we want to bypass the water heater. Now, this is a process that we like to do overnight. We like to fill up the freshwater tank with the sanitized solution, run it through all the lines to all the fixtures, let them sit overnight while we're sleeping. You don't need to use the water anyways. Then wake up in the morning and flush it all out. Now, some people will tell you they like to do this while they're on the road. The only problem I have with that is by filling up our freshwater tank all the way up, that's 81 gallons of water. A gallon of water is about 8 pounds per gallon. So, you know, do the math, that's somewhere around 700 extra pounds. With our cargo capacity, I know I can't really be traveling with a full freshwater tank without exceeding my cargo capacity. So I just assume do it while we're sleeping overnight. But, you know, that's up to you guys, however you want to do it. The idea is just at least sit in there between 8 or 10 hours. And I'm usually not going to be on the road for 8 or 10 hours either. I assume and just kind of do this process late in the evening, get your dishes done, get your showers done, have some extra water on hand for brushing teeth and drinking and things like that, and then just let it sit all night, and then we'll wake up in the morning and we'll go ahead and flush it all out. But for now, let's jump over to the Nautilus panel and we'll show you how to do this. Okay, so here we are over by the Nautilus panel. We have a short section hose, which we're going to use to siphon. We have a 5-gallon bucket, bleach, and measuring cup. That's about all we should need. What we're going to do is pour the bleach into the bucket, and then we're going to fill this up to the top. It doesn't matter what the ratio of bleach to water mixture is in here. It's obviously going to be super strong because it's going to be 1 3/4 cups bleach mixed with 5 gallons of water, but remember, it's going to our tank, and then we're going to finish off by adding, you know, the other 70-some gallons of water to that to make the proper ratio inside the tank. Now, if you look in here in the Nautilus P1 system, you'll see that Sanitize, siphon to tank via a pump, and that's what we're going to want. Now, if you notice, the red lever is sideways on Winterize and Sanitize, and that's because anytime you put this red lever sideways, you're going to bypass your water heater, and that's definitely what you want to do. What we're going to do is switch over to Sanitize mode. We're going to hook the hose up, and we're going to pump everything into there. And now, just a heads up before you guys do start pumping bleach sanitized mixture into your camper, make sure that if you have an onboard cabin filter like we do, that you remove the filter inside here. So I'm going to take this off, take the filter out, then just put this back on so it'll just fill up with, you know, just water. Because the first thing you do as the water comes in, it goes right into the camper, comes right back in. This is the first place that the water goes. So you do want to remove the filter in there. I change those out about once a month anyways. It's time to change that. Now, if you have an inline filter outside, you don't have to worry about that because you're not going to be having any bleach mixture go through there. Also, if you do run a water softener system like we do, just make sure that you're not, for some reason, siphoning the bleach mixture through there either. But again, we're going to bypass this all together, so that's not a concern. Do make sure you stick around to the end of the video, because I'm also going to show you how we get the bleach mixture into our outside water hose. That's another thing that needs to be sanitized. So we're going to show you later on how we get the bleach into the hose that we have outside coming from the water stanchion to the camper, because we want to sanitize that too. And we usually sanitize that, then we also usually just replace them every 2 years. Okay, so I've shut my water off, I've released the pressure. Now, I do recommend putting a towel in the bottom bay here before you remove this filter, because no matter how careful you are, this is still going to make a little bit of a mess. Pull the old filter out. Not too bad looking, but definitely time to change it. And when you guys do go to dump the water out of here, make sure this O-ring doesn't fall out on the ground. I did have that happen once. Filter's out. We're going to just go ahead and put this right back on with no filter. Bleach in the bucket. I'm going to fill this up with water. And guys, if you could hit that like button for us, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell as well. We have our bucket filled up with the bleach and water. We're just going to use this little section of hose right here I have attached to siphon it in. We're going to switch over to Sanitize. So just check your color connections, make sure they're all in the right spot. So we're going to turn this one down. We're going to turn these over. Always make sure this is the most important one. That's going to bypass the water heater. Double check, make sure they're correct. And then we're going to turn on the pump, and we're going to siphon this up into our freshwater tank. Okay guys, day 2, and I'll tell you why it's day 2. Well, we had a little issue with our pump. So yesterday, as soon as I got to the process while I was trying to siphon the Sanitize solution into the tank, pump was running, but I just could not get it to siphon out of the bucket. Now, I've had some issues with this before, and I did everything I usually do. Prime your hose, I would elevate the bucket of water so, you know, it would only have to siphon down and not pull up from the ground. There's a little check valve inside the city water connection, a little cone screen. You can turn around and flip around to depress that. I did that, and I was going through all these issues, and I just could not get the pump to jumpstart, to siphon anything. And I started thinking about it. I said, well, what if it's the pump itself? I know it's running, but it just doesn't seem to be sucking. So I went down and I started troubleshooting the pump, checking the connections, checking air, and I said, let me go ahead and fill up the freshwater tank. And let me just try the pump from inside. Not even try to siphon, but just see if my pump is even pumping anything from the freshwater tank to my fixtures. And sure enough, I wasn't getting anything, not a drop. So we spent all morning troubleshooting my pump. I fixed that issue. It turned out to be a little depressed, almost like a check valve, a pressure regulator valve inside the pump itself. I had to take it apart. Now I'm gonna have a video coming out on that. When that video is all set and done, I will have a link up to it right here as well. If you don't see the link yet, it's because I haven't made the video yet. But so if you ever have issues with the Nautilus system in siphon mode, or your pump in general running and making noise by not pumping any water, go check out that video, because we have some good things to troubleshoot and look for in that. Well, now that we have that issue solved, let's go ahead and get back to this job, and let's go ahead and pump that Sanitize solution into our tank. You can hear the pump running. I can hear water actually running through here, and the bucket, it's going down. So it's pumping, it's in Sanitize mode. As you can see, it's siphoned right to the tank. Don't forget, no matter what mode, if you want to bypass the hot water heater, always have that turned to the left. So we're just gonna finish sucking this up into the tank, and then we're just gonna switch over to power fill and just fill the tank up the rest of the way with water. Okay, that's done. We have our 1 3/4 cup bleach into our fresh water tank. We're gonna let that sit overnight. It's gonna sanitize our tank, but we also want to sanitize all the water lines and get that mixture into all the fixtures. So we're gonna go to the Nautilus panel, and we're gonna switch it into dry camping mode. Now, don't forget in dry camping mode to also turn the red lever to the left so that you bypass the water heater. We don't want the bleach mixture getting into the water heater. Now, once you do that, we're gonna go turn on your pump, dry camping mode, and you're gonna go to each fixture, the bathroom faucet, kitchen faucet, shower, whatever you have. Don't worry about the toilet. And you're gonna run the cold water until you smell bleach water come out of it. And then you're gonna switch it to hot water, and you're gonna run that until you smell bleach come out of it. And now your water shouldn't get hot. If it is getting hot, something's going wrong and you didn't bypass your water heater. And guys, don't forget, if you have a washing machine too, like we do, to run it on a warm cycle that's gonna use both cold and hot water to get that sanitized as well. Okay, so the very last step, what we're gonna do is I wanna sanitize our hose that we use outside that goes from the water stanchion coming into the camper. So we wanna get this sanitized, we wanna get the bleach mixture in here. What we're gonna do is we've switched over to dry camping mode, and we've already run all the faucets with the pump, and we already have bleach water coming out of here from the tank. So all the lines in the camper are filled up with bleach water. We're gonna let this sit overnight. I wanna let the water hose sit overnight too. So what I did was I got a little attachment that you can attach to any kitchen faucet, and you can attach a garden hose to the other side of it. And make sure this is compatible with the kind of faucet you have, because if you have some strange faucets, this is not going to work. And we're just gonna screw this on here. Okay, now this is our 0G hose that we usually have outside, you know, that our water comes from. And we're just gonna attach this right here. Turn on the water. And we're just gonna fill that hose up. Now make sure on the other end of the hose, you put a nozzle or something that's gonna keep the water from just running out of the hose, obviously. And I can already feel that's totally filled up with water, so I can shut that off. And that's just gonna sit there all night, just like every other faucet and every other fixture in the house. And in the morning, we'll go through and drain everything and pump it all out. And just another thing to remember, just so you don't wake up in the middle of the night and try to wash your hands or get a drink from the kitchen faucet or the bathroom faucet, just get you a little Post-it note, kind of put it on the handle or the faucet. Obviously in the bathroom sink here, I don't think anyone's gonna be washing their hands or drinking out of this one, but we'll go put this on the kitchen faucet just in case, or just put some tape over it or something, just so you don't get up and you forget about it, that it's kind of filled up with the bleach sanitizing solution, and try to take a drink. And one more thing, we have a little pitcher of water filled up here. This way, if we have to, we can wash our hands. I have a pot filled up with water for coffee in the morning. Just think ahead of a few things you may want to have water readily available for in the morning, drinking water and whatnot. Okay, good morning. It's the next day. I woke up super early this morning before anybody got up, and I went ahead and got things started and started finishing the process. So I made sure the Nautilus panel was still in dry camping mode and the water heater was still bypassed. Turned on the pump, and I started pumping all the water from my freshwater tank, all the sanitized solution out of there, all through the fixtures. So I started pumping it through the kitchen sink, the bathroom, the shower, just a little bit at a time, using the hot and the cold lines started running all that water out of the tank. Basically empty the whole tank and just run it all through there and get that tank emptied. Now, once I got that tank emptied, I went ahead and took my water hose, brought it back outside, connected it to the city water connection, switched over to power fill, and I filled up my fresh water tank. Again, I filled it back up with 83 gallons of fresh water. And the idea of that is we're going to run all that fresh water through the lines and clean out any of the bleach sanitized solution that was left in there. So once I had that 83 gallons of fresh water in there, kind of went through the same process and did it all again. Made sure the pump was on, still bypassing the hot water heater, had it in dry camping mode, and I went through and ran all that clean fresh water through my fixtures. The kitchen sink, the bathroom, the shower, even did a cycle on a washing machine to get all that fresh water through there. Now, I did that for about half the tank, and then I just went ahead and opened my freshwater tank from the handle below under the camper and just dumped out about the last 30 gallons of fresh water onto the ground. Once we're finished with running all the water through the lines, we switched back over to City Connection. I put all my fresh filters on, and everything is set to go. Hey, as always, thanks for stopping by. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope everybody learned something. And don't forget, start your full-time adventure because, well, why wait? We'll see you guys next time. 10 to 12 hours. Not like that. Right ratio. I'm not even looking at the camera. And a quarter cup. Damn it. I found, damn it. Can't remember the numbers. You can go check out his channel. It's, you know.
Should I turn the TV off in another room?
Yeah. Obviously in the kitchen, I mean, obviously in the bathroom sink,